In less than a single generation, riders emerged from the windswept grasslands of Inner Asia and redrew the map of the known world. From the Pacific shores of China to the forests of Eastern Europe, one power expanded with a speed that defied precedent. The largest contiguous land empire in history was not forged by a settled civilization, nor by a wealthy kingdom, but by nomadic tribes long dismissed as peripheral to history. At its center stood Genghis Khan, not merely as a conqueror, but as an architect of systems. The question is not simply how he won battles. It is how a fractured tribal society engineered a machine capable of subduing empires. The origins of Mongol power lie in the brutality of the steppe. The Mongolian plateau offered no walls, no fertile abundance, no natural shelter. Survival required mobility, endurance, and absolute cohesion. Loyalty was not ceremonial, it was existential. In this environment, Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan, understood that unity could not be built on aristocratic privilege. The traditional tribal hierarchy fractured alliances and perpetuated vendettas. He dismantled it. Promotion under his rule was based on merit and loyalty, not lineage. Warriors rose because they proved capable, not because they were born noble. Entire tribes were reorganized into military units structured by a decimal system, groups of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, each accountable to the next. This was not improvisation, it was institutional design. Discipline was absolute, desertion was punished without hesitation. Yet reward was equally decisive. Loyalty was reciprocated with protection and spoils. The Mongol army became less a tribal coalition and more a modular force. Command could be delegated. Orders could cascade efficiently. The foundation of empire was not fury, it was structure. When expansion began, the mechanisms of dominance were already in place. Mongol warriors were raised in the saddle, capable of covering extraordinary distances with multiple remounts. Their composite bows, lethal at range, allowed them to strike while in motion, dissolving the traditional geometry of battlefield engagement. Armies that relied on static formations found themselves outmaneuvered before contact. Yet, mobility alone does not explain conquest. The Mongols' weaponized reputation. Cities that resisted were annihilated with calculated severity. Survivors carried stories ahead of the next invasion. Fear preceded the cavalry. Many strongholds surrendered without a siege. Equally critical was intelligence. Scouts mapped terrain meticulously. Communication across vast distances was maintained through relay stations and mounted couriers, enabling rapid transmission of orders. The empire's nervous system extended across continents. Adaptability proved decisive. When confronting fortified cities in northern China, Mongol forces incorporated engineers and siege specialists from conquered populations. During campaigns against the Jin dynasty in northern China, they absorbed techniques previously unknown to steppe warfare. In Central Asia and Persia, they adapted again, employing administrators and scholars to stabilize territories once subdued. The Mongol machine did not merely destroy, it assimilated expertise. Within approximately 25 years, Mongol banners advanced from East Asia into the Islamic heartlands and across the Eurasian steppe toward Eastern Europe. Under Genghis Khan's successors, the empire expanded further still, eventually dividing into khanates that governed immense and culturally diverse regions. Scale was achieved not only through conquest, but through administrative innovation, tax systems, religious tolerance, protected trade routes. The so-called Pax Mongolica facilitated unprecedented movement of goods, ideas, and technologies across Eurasia. And yet, embedded within this scale was fragility. The empire's very vastness demanded delegation. Authority radiated outward from a central lineage, but distances grew immense. Communication slowed. Local rulers accumulated autonomy. Succession, once managed through personal loyalty to a singular leader, became contested among heirs. Cultural integration proved partial. The mechanisms that had unified the tribes of the steppe were strained when applied to sedentary civilizations with ancient bureaucracies and identities. Speed had created dominance. It also compressed the time available to consolidate it. The Mongols mastered the engineering of power, unify fragmented groups under meritocratic command, institutionalize discipline, weaponize mobility, absorb external knowledge, expand faster than rivals can coordinate resistance. It is a blueprint that reveals power as constructed, not mystical. But every structure is bound by scale. As territory expands, cohesion thins. As authority disperses, alignment weakens. The same systems that generate explosive growth introduce complexity that demands constant calibration. The Mongol Empire demonstrates that power is neither accidental nor permanent. It is designed, refined, and deployed with precision. Yet, within its architecture lie tensions, distance, succession, diversity that accumulate over time. History suggests a recurring pattern: unification, innovation, expansion, overextension. The riders of the steppe understood how to build power with ruthless efficiency. Even so, the largest empire in history could not escape the structural laws that govern all vast systems. Power can be engineered, but in its very design, it carries the seeds of its own limits.